All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brett Keene, and you are watching and listening to God TV Radio. I hope you're all having a blessed day out there. Today, we're going to talk about yet another dangerous atheist who decided to bomb a clinic. And we're going to read some of his manifesto and an article put together by a journalist to see what his problem was. So here we go. Let me go ahead and read it to you. Guy Edwards Barkus, identified as a 25-year-old pro-mortalist in connection with the Palm Springs fertility clinic bombing, did not adhere to any traditional religion based on available information. Instead, his beliefs aligned with pro-mortalism and atheism, which are philosophical stances rather than religious ones. Pro-moralism views life as inherently harmful and advocates for the voluntary cessation of life to prevent suffering, while atheism extends this to the goal of ending all sentient life to eliminate suffering entirely. So basically, he thinks in order to stop suffering in the world, you have to kill everybody and everything. That way it doesn't have to feel pain anymore. Barkus explicitly rejected religion, describing it as retarded and expressing atheistic views, even stating a preference for Satan over a hypothetical God in response to a message about hell. His manifesto and writings emphasize philosophies like negative utilitarianism, antinatalism. Antinatalism is when you don't want to bring children into the world because you believe you've enslaved them and that they don't have the ability to choose, and basically you're stating you don't want kids to suffer, so don't bring them into the world. And an abolitionist, veganism, or whatever, all these fancy words. Sorry about that. You can read it yourself. The posters are in my community section on my YouTube, which he saw as grounded in objective value focused on reducing harm, in contrast to religious or nihilistic frameworks. Oh dear. And of course, I put several names. I shared this and mentioned people. This is our bomber, atheist bomber. He was a TikToker as well as YouTuber, constantly going against the government, going against humanity. He hated everything, including obviously himself. And now he's going to be spending the rest of his young life in prison, where he belongs. He's an animal, obviously, by his own admittance and confession. We've over on my channel, as well as on Spotify, I've recorded over 500 incidences where atheists have raped and murdered and killed people. These same atheists on their own Facebooks and their own YouTube videos have claimed that they don't need the Bible for a moral compass. They don't need to be God. They don't need to believe in a God in order to be moral, good people. But I mean, you just have to simply look at their actions instead of hearing the dribble and gibberish that comes out of their mouth. There's a lot of atheists, and there's a lot of hypocritical Christians out there that pretend to be one thing on video, and then in real life, they're horrible, they're garbage. There was a handful of atheists that were just arrested recently for killing their own parents, shooting up schools, or planning or intending to do this. A majority of school shootings are usually done in public schools, and they typically by routine, done by non-believers or atheist transgenders. Every one of these transgender shootings have been godless atheists who can't figure out who they are, whether they're male or female. And this is unfortunately, it's a pandemic. It's something that's been going on for years, yet a lot of atheists won't even acknowledge the fact that according to Pew Research and scientific stats, that atheists have the highest suicide rate on the planet. They have the highest drug abuse, because they don't have any moral system. They don't have any books or holy text or anything to guide them on how to live their lives or do anything. And this is how it comes down to. There's also a great deal of atheists who go to these universities and these schools, and then they teach hatred against Christianity, any form of religion, and now it's gotten to the point where they preach against the government. They want socialism and communism. And if we remember back in history, every time atheists got triggered and began spreading their intentions and agenda, eventually the civilization ended up getting wiped out. The more they accepted this type of behavior and this type of nonsense. Atheists throughout history have learned to get around the laws and pay people extraordinary amounts of money in order to be able to get them off whenever they commit crimes and all that. They say that most politicians are sociopaths, and we see that a lot of godless people have gotten themselves into the government and have really been making things miserable for everybody. This is what happens. If you don't have someone who believes in God and who actually wants to do good and believes that's a part of being a Christian up there, and they're all for themselves, you're going to end up with a really bad society. So it is what it is. And it's really hard nowadays to be able to choose a leader, because a lot of people, they will lie. They will pretend to be one thing, and then they'll be something else completely, with a completely different agenda than what they originally preached. So there you go, an atheist bomber. We'll be doing some more articles as usual. If you'd like to read about some of the other ones, you can. A lot of atheists have gotten in trouble due to NAMBLA. I don't know if many of you knew that, but atheists actually founded NAMBLA, which is a child molesting organization. They have gotten in way more trouble than the Catholic Church could ever dream of. And what's sad is Catholics are taught not to molest children, as where the atheist NAMBLA actually encourages you to molest children. And of course, they don't have a God to tell them differently. So there you go. The next time you're watching an atheist video and they're pretending as though they're good people and they're kind, remember, the moment they turn their power off, they could be going in the back room and kicking the shit out of their kids, or causing harm in society. Don't believe everything you hear or see in video. I would recommend research. Always question the people you're listening to. God bless.